Elizabeth Schneider lives in Seattle, Washington. That's been a hot spot, that state. In late February, she was feeling sick after a party, had flu-like symptoms, had a fever of 103. Turns out she contracted the virus, but nearly 3 weeks later, she says she's feeling great. And tonight, she's got a message for everybody watching. Elizabeth Schneider with me by computer. Nice to see you in Seattle.
Yeah.
What's your message for America, Elizabeth?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Bill. I'm really excited to share my story with everyone. So I think my biggest message and take home for everyone is please don't panic. Yes, this is a virus that is relatively new to the scene in terms of infections in humans. But if you're like myself and if you're young and you don't have any underlying health conditions, you should have milder symptoms and you should be able to come out the other side. And I'm living proof of that. As long as you take care of yourself, stay home, do isolate yourself from others. There are people in our community that are getting very severe symptoms from this virus, and they could threaten their life. But I would like to tell everyone, please don't panic. And also, the other thing I want to mention is when I got sick, I did not get any respiratory symptoms. And so, I think the symptoms are showing up different in different people. And so you may not be able to recognize or suspect that you have COVID-19.
Wow, that's very interesting. But I want to get this. How are you feeling right now, by the way, Elizabeth?
I'm feeling great. Yeah.
Well, you look good. But here's what's confounding.
Thank you.
You say you felt bad on February 22nd.
Yeah.
And then you felt a little something 3 days later. But you weren't confirmed with the virus until March 7th. Well, March 7th was just a few days ago. How do we understand that timeline? And how do we understand that you weren't feeling anything in your lungs when all the doctors are saying that's what the virus goes for?
Yeah, no, those are all really, really great questions. So yeah, the timeline, so you mentioned February 22nd. That actually was the day that I attended a party with a group of friends. So I was feeling fine on that day. And then 3 days later on February 25th, I did wake up in the morning. I felt a little tired. I just thought that I had had a really hectic weekend. I went to work. I was feeling unwell. I came home. By the evening, I had a fever that spiked to 103 degrees. And you're right, I did not have any coughing. I didn't have any shortness of breath, tightness in my chest. I had all the typical symptoms that you would expect from a nasty flu. I had body aches. I had fatigue. I had a headache. I was really tired. I did have nausea one day, but I honestly didn't really suspect it was the coronavirus. And this was back, over 2 weeks ago before there was a big outbreak in Washington State. So I didn't think of it. And the reason that I got tested and got the positive result just recently this past weekend is because it was only really a group of my friends who also got sick from the party that recommended I sign up for the Seattle flu study. And it took some time for them to receive my sample. And so by the time I got the call on Saturday saying that I was confirmed positive, I was already recovered and feeling better.
Well, you've got a message tonight. Washington State has 457 cases. And of those 457, you had 31 people die in your state alone. I got to think you're feeling pretty lucky, but I really appreciate the message you have tonight. Interesting story. Elizabeth Schneider, thank you. Good luck to you. I hope you continue. If things change now, you come back and we'll monitor that as well, okay?
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for sharing your story. Enjoy the weekend, what you get of it. Thanks, Elizabeth.